Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County horticulture agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickles-Schmidt Sports Complex.
During the summer months, people oftentimes like to move their houseplants outside to give them a little more sunlight to help them recover from that indoor low light situation that they've been in throughout most of the winter and springtime. And that's perfectly fine, but we are towards the end of summertime now, and so those nighttime temperatures are starting to get a little bit cooler, and this is when we want to start thinking about bringing those houseplants back inside for the winter. Now, when you bring a houseplant back inside, there are some things to consider and to check for. One of those simply being insects. You know, plants outdoors are exposed to a lot more things, and so you want to make sure and check that plant over thoroughly to make sure you're not bringing any unwanted pests into your home. So you can check out the leaves, make sure there's no mites or aphids or anything strange on those leaves. If there is something like that, it's much easier to treat the plant outdoors with an insecticide versus having it be indoors and then having to worry about it after it gets cold this winter. The other thing you might do is make sure you check the soil for any soil pests. Sometimes there are pests inside the soil, and one easy trick you can do with that is to submerge this entire pot in a tub of lukewarm water for about 15 minutes, and sometimes those soil insects will emerge and you can take care of them that way. Now, the other thing to consider when moving a houseplant back indoors is that you're moving this plant from a relatively high light situation, which we're in today, into a very low light situation. And so research back in the 70s found that plants, tropical plants especially, create what are called sun leaves. And these leaves can tolerate that higher light level. They tend to be thicker and fewer, or more numerous, in number. And so when you move them indoors and shock them, so to speak, into a low light situation, sometimes the plants will just drop their leaves. And so don't be concerned about that. A lot of times they'll send out a new flush of growth and you'll have those shade leaves then, which are bigger and thinner. One thing you can do to help prevent that is to slowly move it into that low light situation, which can take a matter of 6 to 8 weeks. But you can go ahead and take this plant from this very sunny location inside to the sunniest spot that you can find in your house. May not be its permanent location, but it's a way to kind of acclimate that plant to the lower light levels and then gradually move it back into the lowest light level where you will eventually place it permanently. If you have questions about houseplant care or bringing those houseplants back into the inside for the winter, contact your local extension office for more information. Reporting for K-State Research and Extension, Eagle TV, I'm Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Extension Agent.
Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County horticulture agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickles-Schmidt Sports Complex.